Hello guys! Today we actually have a lot of information regarding Daiyan that's been drip fed to us. Since yesterday, I already talked about the fact that she was coming out. I kind of gave a quick kit explanation, but they did release a skill preview that we're gonna go over, as well as her weapon, the banner, and APV. So we are gonna be going over absolutely everything here. So first and foremost, we have a gentle and reserved doll who roams the lands with her Gojang and her bandmates from Monsoon. When she plucks the string, she evokes the deepest desires buried in the hearts of her listeners, listening to all and embracing all. So again, the Gojang is a traditional instrument. Kind of looks like a koto. It's kind of like it's a chord instrument that's very beautiful. So I like that. Anyway, moving on. Here we actually have the kit description. So we're gonna open this up so it's a little bit bigger. We can zoom in. There we go. All right. So let's see. Body model, blah blah blah. Okay, skill introduction. Plucking strings. It's a basic attack that deals physical damage. As per usual, it's probably 80% damage scaling, as it tends to be. Absolute tuning cleanses the target's buff and deals physical damage. So, as I was saying in the previous videos, essentially you are able to remove enemy buffs, which is very useful in certain situations, specifically against bosses who tend to have annoying mechanics like buffing their defense like crazy. This is very good in those circumstances. And this is mostly the circumstances where she is gonna be very good, is against those bosses. Alright, moving on. King Sheng Harmony gains tuning as well as pitch perfect. In addition, gains extra command. Okay, so tuning is the stat that is buffing her. I'm not sure what pitch perfect does, but she does get a extra tuning, which means that extra command, sorry, which means that she is able to buff herself and immediately act again. Ethereal Resonance deals physical damage, reduces skill cooldown for each stack of tuning, After attacking, consume all tuning and gains tuning permanently. So essentially, there's two different stacks of tuning. There is tuning and permanent tuning. Permanent tuning just makes it so they don't go away, essentially. So this is a nice way to go about it. And the more tuning you have, the lower the cooldown is going to be, so you're going to be able to stack up those permanent tuning faster. Essentially, this character kind of ramps up her damage overall, but do keep in mind that even though her damage does ramp up, it's not going to be as strong as some of the biggest DPS we currently have in the game, like Tololo, QJ, Macchiato. She has okay damage, but it's not going to be as high. Still, what is most important for her is her ability to have that decent damage on top of the enemy buff cleanse. Alright, we also have her passive, Swift Harmony. At the start of the action, gains Confectance Index and Tuning. When performing an active attack against a target not protected by cover, gains Confectance Index. Before taking targeted damage, if the number of tuning stacks is greater than 2, launches Interception and permanently gains Tuning. If the number of stacks is greater than 3, increases the damage dealt. So you want to make sure that you have some amount of tuning. In that way, you will be able to actually preemptively attack an enemy's taking an action against her, obviously, which is very good. It's really nice to have an interception. It's just a very strong mechanic, and that is going to work pretty well with a character like QJ. It's going to be able to trigger her abilities. So this is pretty nice to have, obviously. So overall, she has some decent damage that takes a little bit of time to ramp up because she needs those stacks of tuning. She has enemy buff cleanse, which is very good. And she has interceptions, which is fantastic. Interception, unfortunately, I believe can only be triggered once per turn, unless there are some upgrades in the future from dupes, but I'm not gonna consider those here because you want to know what the character is capable of doing at base value. So there we go. Overall, a pretty good character that is gonna shine specifically against certain bosses. Moving on to her key introduction. So again, the keys is what you can unlock from the neural helix, I believe, which will allow you to equip 3 of her fixed keys and 3 common keys. So going over her fixed keys real quick, when Daiyan has tuning, she increased her mobility by 1 tile, which Daiyan is already a character with a lot, and I mean a lot of mobility. She gets extra movement, even though it's not mentioned here. She has some extra 6 tiles movement and stuff like that. She's a Vanguard. She has so much mobility, it's actually pretty bananas, which is very, very good in a lot of circumstances. And I believe she can even buff her own damage depending on the amount of tiles that she has walked. Alright, fixed key Unfulfilled Dreams, gain 3 points of Confectance Index at the start of the battle. This is a pretty classic one to make sure in general that you're able to dish out your skills pretty early on. Also, the first one was called Echoing Melody. Alright. 3. Haze Walker's Melody. For each point of additional mobility before the attack, critical rate increased by 10%. So, the more additional mobility you have, the more crit rate you will have. Serene Serenade. If Daiyan's mobility is higher than the target's, gain 1 stack of tuning before using an active attack. Very good. Squad Broken. For every 3 stack of tuning, cleanse 1 additional buff when using the active skill Absolute Tuning. This is pretty good. I think this is going to be situational. If you are facing an enemy that buffs itself with more than 1 different type of buff, in that case you're going to be able to remove two of those buffers, which I think this is going to be a situational one. You're going to equip it against specific bosses, and otherwise you can go for something a bit more generally good. Lasting Legacy. After using King Sheng Harmony, if a kill occurs in this turn, recover 20% max HP and 2 points of Stability Index. This is some nice amount of self-sustain, which I feel is going to be situational as well. I feel like this is not going to be as useful as some, I like Squad Broken, for example, but in some circumstances, maybe you want to run without a healer or something like that, and this could be pretty good. So I would say, in terms of what is good here, Haze Walker's Melody is going to increase her crit rate, is pretty good. I think the Serenade making it so if your mobility is higher, which is very often going to be the case, you're going to get 1 free stack of tuning, which is going to be very important in my opinion. So I could see Echoing Melody for the increased mobility, Haze Walker for the increased crit rate, and finally Serene Serenade for the increased stack of tuning, which is good. And then every now and then you can definitely, if you need the skill, you can probably remove like Echoing Melody and get yourself something like the Unfulfilled Dreams for the points of Confectance, or potentially, you know, the healing or Squad Broken against certain bosses. Finally, the common key that you can unlock from getting all of the previous keys is gonna be Shattering Stone and Silk. At the start of the action, gain movement up 1 for 1 turn. This has a cooldown of 1 turn. Movement up 1 is basically 1 additional tile of movement, which is in tune with the rest. Oh, tune, get it? With the rest of her kits, but that can be placed on any other character. So there we go. A lot of stuff. I assume in terms of common key, what you want is probably going to be attack percentage, crit rate, and anything that's going to increase the mobility. So that's probably going to be pretty good. Anyway, moving on. We have her weapon here called Heavy Strings. It's an assault rifle, medium ammo. It's called her ability is called Glissando. Before attacking, there is a 20% chance to cleanse 1 buff from the target. For every 3 tiles moved, damage is increased by 5% up to a maximum of 10%. So basically, by moving 6 tiles, you get a 10% increase. Critical damage against targets not protected by cover is increased by 10%. She already has a additional things that she get from enemies not being protected by cover. When performing an active attack against a target not protected by cover, gain a Confectance Index. So with that, you would get both the Confectance Index as well as 10% increased damage. And critical damage, sorry, specifically. So there we go. Essentially, this weapon is made for her. It's like she needs to move a lot. She needs to attack enemies that are not in cover. And the fact that she moves a lot is going to increase her crit rates. And then in that case, you have increased crit damage, which is, you know, always something. On top of that, the trait is as per usual. If the user has full HP at the start of the action, gains 1 random buff for 1 turn, which is very nice. So overall, this is a decent weapon. The 20% chance to cleanse an enemy buff is a bit low, but I don't think it's absolutely. It's a bit low. It's a bit low. 20% chance. I mean, she already has 1 cleanse, potentially 2 cleanses, right, with the fixed key here. And by the way, this is for every 3 stack of tuning. So if you have 6 stack of tuning, this is 2 additional buff cleansing. So in best circumstances, she can already cleanse 3 buff. When are you really going to need to cleanse a 4th buff? Especially in a 1 out of 5 chance to trigger. I don't feel like this is absolutely necessary. But yeah, I mean, pull at your discretion. In terms of description, a high-performance assault rifle assigned to Daiyan based on the Type 95 combines elegant appearance with destructive power. In Daiyan's hands, a heavy string resonates like a deadly musical instrument. That's a very nice text. So yeah, this is a signature weapon. If you absolutely love her and you want to give her everything she can get, do go for it. But again, I don't think it's necessary. Now we get a little bit of a showcase here. Just weapons swinging around. I mean, it looks fine, yeah. Alright, finally, we have the banner. I don't know why I said finally, we have another thing to go over afterwards. So the banner here is going to be Daiyan, as well as Nagant and KittyKathee are going to be the welfare units on the banner. So, very quickly, Daiyan, we talked about her. I think overall, she's a pretty decent character. I think she definitely has value. She definitely has her niche. And she's going to be strong in that niche, in the content where she's going to shine. Now, for Nagant and KittyKathee specifically, I think those units are a little bit underwhelming. I mean, it's not necessarily true. I think KittyKathee has her users. KittyKathee is basically the best healer in the game. She has strong single target heal, she has strong AoE heal, she has cleanse, she can give some amount of stability back. So overall, she's good at what she does, but that is basically the only thing she does. She has a little bit of hydro damage from her skill, and she also has some follow-up attack. So she actually is pretty decent with a character like Tololo, for example, but that's pretty much it. Generally speaking, you want your character to have a little bit more variety and usefulness in their kit. But if you're in dire need of a healer, she is great at it. Moving on to Nagant, I think Nagant is a bit... she has definitely less use. She's a character that has some corrosive phase, essentially, so she can play some acid, she can do some defense down. She's kind of whatever, to be honest. There's not really much to write home about. And I think right now corrosive teams are definitely not in favor because we don't have good characters that fit that, apart from Peritia. And even Peritia is a bit underwhelming until we get characters like, you know, Cloquet and Mekti. So for now, Nagant, I mean, if you like her, she's kind of a cutie pie. She has cute outfits. So if you like her, that's definitely a nice way to get copies of her. But don't expect the world from those 2 welfare units. But yeah, they can definitely work. And I mean, if you like her, I'm definitely not going to stop you from enjoying them. Moving on to the PV, let's have a look. Man, she's so beautiful. Between the traditional dress, the kipao, and the fan. Ginkgo leaves too. There we go. So Guzheng is actually the Koto. I didn't know it was the same thing. I mean, maybe it's different, but maybe there are some differences. But yeah, when she said Guzheng here in Japanese, obviously because Guzheng is the Chinese name, she said Koto. So it is, I thought. Man, she's so pretty and elegant. Ah, she's so cool! Nice. Oh my god, Raymond! pretty, dude. Oh my god.
旅と出会いは新たな旋律の源。
Oh, that smile was devious.
どんな曲が生まれるのか
She's so
楽し
pretty.
みです。
Interestingly enough, they didn't show. Oh, there they are. Never mind. Ah, the little tap on the head. Yeah, but that smile here. Did oh my god! Look at that. That's what I meant by devious. That is a crazy smile. Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Anywho, that's gonna be it for this. I hope this was useful to you. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It really helps the channel. And yeah, let me know if you're gonna be pulling for her or if you're waiting for another character and that means you're gonna be skipping. You can expect some more news. We should, in theory, be getting another drip marketing today for the second banner if they keep doing 2 banners a patch. Anyway, stay tuned and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.